to the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors meeting for April 18th. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before I mention, there's a lot of folks here that probably haven't been to a meeting before this year, since we changed the format a little bit. So on the back of your agenda are the rules and regulations that we are following for the meeting. And you'll notice that for public comment, it's 2.5 minutes, and for a confirmed appointment, it's 5 minutes, okay? So I want everybody to understand that. And we will begin with public comments on agenda items. Public comments on agenda items. Seeing none, we'll move on. Announcements. There will be an executive session this evening following this meeting. We'll talk about real estate. I have a couple other things that have been added, and then we'll get to the drawing. There is the Historical Society will be having a shredder event on May 5th from 12 to 2. You're in the parking lot, I believe, David? Right, yeah, just like always, so please keep that in mind. I also want to announce that the Historical Society has been given a great honor here. They were, the Preservation Alliance Board of Directors in Philadelphia has voted to present the 2018 John Andrew Gowrie Community Action Award to the Historical Society for achievement by community organizations. This is for the work they did on the Highland Park. Okay, so it's a great honor. I want to congratulate the Historical Society for that honor. And I want to thank, Judy's not here tonight, but I want to thank Judy. Judy got a nice thank you. She's the one that nominated them. And they'll be going down to Philadelphia to 600 Broad Street in June to accept the award. So that's a wonderful honor. What else did I have on there? Well, we have the cleanup day drawing. We have 2 adults and 2 children we have to draw. Do we have a basket there?
This is the adults first.
Adults first, okay. Let's see. Who can draw an adult? Suzanne can draw an adult. She had to make sure it was hers. David Yeck? Not here. Okay, that's one. All right. How about another one? Mr. Linden. You looking for yours?
I didn't even get notice of it.
Vicky Crothhamel. All right. Those are the 2 adults. All right. You look like a drawer. All right. Cody H. From 1334 Keystone Drive. I guess we'll figure out where that one is. Why don't you pick one, Tiff? All right. Josh H. of 3034 Keystone. So we have 2 of them. They can both come together then. All right. And they will receive their awards at the next meeting. Or their, yeah. All right. I don't believe there's anything else in announcements. So I will move on to the consent agenda. The items on the consent agenda tonight are the March 28th minutes, the Conservation Committee, the WIN Plan Review Status and Authorization Vouchers, the Emergency Service Report, Building Zoning and Building Permit Report, Public Works Report. And we've added the Frankenfield Development Agreement and the Stormwater Management and the signing of these after the meeting. So, is there any questions?
The signing of the plan.
Signing of the plan, I'm sorry. I did have that written down.
I move for approval.
Yep, I'll second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's how quickly we can finish all those events, items. Confirmed appointments, we have none. So let's move on to our committee reports. Chris Durstard for our Planning Commission.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, PC met last Tuesday. We had one applicant, was Kratz from Ridge Valley Road. Pardon me. They have a 19.4 acre lot there with the residents. They are proposing to divide that into 6 lots. Has a couple of challenges. First of all, 3 of these lots are proposed to be lane lots. As per our ordinance, 3 or more lane lots are to require a public street for access unless there is some type of problem with doing that, if it's unfeasible. The PC agreed that it would be difficult to do that, so we were willing to waive that. Or is that part of the zoning ordinance or the saldo?
It's part of the zoning ordinance, but there's a provision in the zoning ordinance that allows it to be the discretion of the township.
Okay, so we'll let that to your discretion, I guess, is how that's gonna work. One of the things that we were looking to do, that we would like them to do is to, if we were to waive that portion, was to have them deed restrict. The lot with the house is, what is that, it's 5.4 acres. We wanted to deed restrict that from further subdivision to allow that lane lot provision. So they weren't really hot on that idea, but we'll see what they come back with. Road improvements and waivers thereof, we had discussion due to the proximity to the park and to the Hayfler track. Rather than requiring curb and sidewalk, we talked about having a path put across the frontage on the plan. Not have it installed, but have it on the plan for future reference. Another thing that we were looking at was having some type of a path right away through the property from Ridge Valley Road to the Hayfler track. They weren't real hot for that idea either. There are some environmental challenges to that, so PC members want to go out and do a little hike around the property. There's some contour challenges for connecting through there. So that's kind of in their court as well. They weren't really up for that idea, but we'll see what we can get out of them. Andy had a great point with our surveys that we just had done for the comp plan. Trails and walking trails were a top priority, so I think it's worth pursuing. That was pretty much it for the Kratz. We tabled that for further discussion. Second item of our meeting was to do a saldo corrections, and this is Steve's idea here. Since the ordinances are going to be codified here in the near future, Steve has a few corrections and whatnot to the ordinance that he would like to incorporate before the codification. And Steve, if you want to elaborate on that, I saw it's on the agenda for later.
Yeah, it's on the agenda under my report, but I guess the subdivision ordinance is from back in 2011. I have a bunch of margin notes, some typos, some little things that have changed over time. Exactly what Chris said, since we're codifying the ordinance, it would be nice to do a cleanup, not a rewrite of the subdivision ordinance, not like we did the last time, it took months and months to go through it, but basically fix errata and just something, bring a few, like some of the tree species aren't to date now, because ash trees and some of the other problems we've had, just some cleanup items like that through the book. It would have to be done by ordinance, but just those types of items, not a rewrite of all the provisions in the ordinance.
Okay. So the PC voted to recommend that you authorize Steve to to do this work. So again, that's up to you guys. So you would have to put that together and bring it back to the PC, I'm assuming, and then we would go through his changes.
Yeah, the PC would look at a draft, and it would come back to the board, then you would have to authorize it to be advertised and go through the whole ordinance process. The PC would look at it first to see if it covered everything.
How extensive were the changes you recommend?
I mean, I didn't go through to count up all the items, but there might be 24 little items. I mean, we're talking about one sentence item, changing wording from this to that, not whole rewrites of sections.
Any questions?
I have none.
Yep.
That's all I have. Like I said, PC is recommending that you authorize that.
Yeah,
Authorize
we
it.
have a motion to authorize.
I make that motion.
Don,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
I'll make a motion, we accept Chris's report as presented.
Don,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Park and Rec, Mr. Strobel could not attend tonight, so Jay's going to make some comments on the meeting.
Park and Rec had a good meeting last week, Thursday. A couple of the things that we talked about was baseball is underway now, as you all can see, the park is full. Two fields going on, and I mean, the parking lot, stones and everywhere were packed last week, and as you can see tonight, they're pretty full as well. And that's coming along really nice, everybody's happy. The next thing on the agenda that we discussed that was major is our 8th annual Children's Fishing Derby coming up on Saturday. So any of you that have kids, make sure you bring them. Starts at 9 o'clock, goes till 12, and you must register. We will be giving prizes out. Cabela's has come through again with 20 rod and reel combinations. We've had some local citizen donate 5 rod and reels. And Dave's Sports down in Doyle's, just north of Doylestown on 611, donated 3 gift certificates. So we should have some beautiful trout stocked in the pond. And my fellow supervisors and I are, again this year, going to be each donating a $50 bill to the 3 largest fish caught by the children. And they will have to come to the meeting, the following meeting, and receive their prize. As well as we will have 2 $25 cash, 2 $25 cash award prizes for the first fish caught by a boy and the first fish caught by a girl. So that was pretty intense last year, where the way the kids were running to the bird blind station with the fish. One was a sunfish last year, by the way, that was one of the winners. So we've had an enormous amount of support, and I want to thank all the businesses and anybody that donated to make this possible. We have, I would say, close to 500 trout that are going to be stocked, and they're really quality fish. We will be stocking on Friday morning. And there will be no fishing in the pond until after the kids' derby's over.
And don't be late if you're bringing your kids or your grandkids, because those first 2 fish
Exactly.
get caught in about 15 seconds.
And I will say, we've had some local businesses donate hot dogs and stuff, and Landis is helping out with, we're getting donuts, free donuts for everybody, free hot dogs and drinks for the kids. We have coffee. It's a real, true community event, and there's been a lot of generous support from the community and the businesses in this community that I want to thank. And hopefully we'll have good weather, and the fish will bite, and the kids will catch them. And I will ask Sergeant Maloney to make sure the word gets out. We will protect that pond.
And then I've already been instructed to guard that pond with their life.
Thank you. That's about all we had. It's a pretty quick meeting, wasn't real long, so I would say.
I'll add 2 more updates.
Okay.
The Compassion Friends Garden has been it's got all its flowers in it for the spring. It looks beautiful. They put in new trees. They have some more perennials to put in, so the garden is really looking fabulous. So you should all go over and take a look at that. They still have to put up their plaques, and then it will be completed. But they were waiting for the water to get turned on, and I understand the water's turned on now. So the other thing is the tot lot. We had authorized last month, I think, to expand the tot lot and put in a handicap ramp. That is completed. So as of today, all the mulch is back in. It's all done. There's an area right along the front, along the walkway, that needs to be worked, and the guys are going to plant some new grass seed along there. So, but except for that, it's complete. It looks great. Really looks great. So that's where we are.
Use your park.
use your park. If you can find a place to park, over there. Because it is busy, and we're glad to see that. All right, can I get a motion to approve the Park and Rec?
So moved.
And I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Comprehensive plan, Mr. Duvall.
Okay, some plan. We, of course, meet the fourth Thursday of every month, and we're well into the plan and rewriting some of the areas. One of the major areas we discussed at the last meeting, we went from 7 to 10, so it was a pretty extensive discussion, was on the availability of different types of properties available for different types of housing and structure. So it turns out, all the calculations that were done, West Rockhill is in a good position. We have sufficient space for all kinds of development, from apartments to luxury homes, to make a simple statement. So I will comment that we have had, in my view, probably one of the best planners we could have had. He's an excellent guy, and he's really into it. Unfortunately, we're going to lose him in a couple of weeks, I guess, maybe a month. He's taken another job with another firm in New Jersey, and he introduced a new young gal who's going to replace him. So we'll miss him, but I'm sure she'll be as good, and I would encourage you to come out and join the discussion. We usually have one or two that comes out, so we're looking for your input and for your opportunity to hear the kind of details that we're discussing, because it is the future that we're developing for this community. So everybody to get a flavor of what's going on. That's it.
Okay, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you, Don. Police report.
Thank you, gentlemen. This is a list of the monthly activities for the Pennridge Regional Police Department for the month of March 2018. Pennridge Regional Police Department responded to 569 calls for service. Of those calls, 245 were in East Rockhill Township, 324 were in West Rockhill Township. The department handled 42 traffic crashes. There were 14 crashes in East Rockhill and 28 in West Rockhill. 23 were reportable and 19 were non-reportable crashes. In regards to the criminal activity that occurred, Pennridge Regional Police officers responded to 3 Part 1 crimes, 22 Part 2 crimes in March, totaling 25 crimes. Part 1 crimes are also known as index crimes or violent crimes. Things such as homicide, sexual assault, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, theft, auto theft, and arson. The West Rockhill reported crimes. There was an assault, worthless checks, 2 cases of theft, 2 DUI cases, 2 harassment cases, 3 ordinance violations, 2 cases of trespassing, 2 cases of possession of marijuana, and a public drunkenness. East Rockhill reported crimes. There was also a assault. There were 2 fraud cases. There was 1 possession of marijuana, 1 DUI, a disorderly conduct, terroristic threats, trespass, and 1 ordinance violation. Criminal charges filed for March 2018, there was 1 corruption of minors, 1 endangering the welfare of children, 2 simple assaults, 3 harassments, 1 public drunkenness, 5 DUIs, 2 possession of drug paraphernalias, 1 burglary, 1 possession of a small amount of marijuana. There was 1 retail theft that actually ended up being a felony retail because of the value. 1 receiving stolen property, 1 criminal mischief, and 1 disorderly conduct. Other police activities, officers conducted 205 traffic enforcement details. 25 of those details were specifically on Old Bethlehem Pike. Officers issued 16 verbal traffic warnings, 51 citations, and 65 written warnings. They also conducted 208 business checks in the businesses throughout both townships. In regards to administrative information that the chief mostly conducted, he met with the Pennridge High School Superintendent, Jacqueline Radigan. He also attended a drug task force meeting. He met with the district attorney in reference to the drug take-back event, and he did a presentation about elderly crimes at the Pennridge Senior Center. Any questions?
No questions? Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make that, all right, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, the joint rec, actually, it's a joint rec authority. We're no longer a commission, by the way. You may want to ask Judy to change that. We have a yard sale coming up on May 19th. We are doing it in coordination with everyone along Washington Avenue. So it's going to be quite a big yard sale. So we're hoping everybody will come out. Suzanne is pushing the advertisements out and working with the people on Washington Avenue to get them out also. So it's going to be a big event. We hope that the snack bar is going to be open for breakfast food, so we hope you can all come out. Pool's underway for cleaning. We hope to have that up and running before May 19th. So we will also be selling memberships there at a discounted rate if anybody wants to join the pool this year and you haven't gotten or you haven't turned in your membership that you got in the mail.
When is that open officially, Jim?
Memorial Day weekend, yeah, on Monday, I think, on Sunday, yeah. We are in the process of rebuilding all the picnic table, or the picnic tables. Suzanne had a crew over there last week. Thank you to Debbie and Sandy, I don't think you're here, and Bob Strobel. They were sanding benches, we got about half of them done, so the benches are completely taken apart. We're redoing the metal work, we're redoing the wood, we're replacing some that are bad, so it'll be all like new picnic tables at the pool this year. And Worth and Company, thank you Jay, has donated new sinks that are being put in this week. We're just waiting to get the new faucets in to add to them, and they will be put in the men's and ladies' room. So everything else is moving along fairly well. We're still working on getting all our new lighting installed, so we hope to see a big improvement with all the new LED lighting. Should be saving quite a lot of money over the next 20 years. Okay, I think that's all I have for tonight. Any questions?
Move for approval of your report.
Yep, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tax collector.
Okay, for the month of April, for annual taxes, I've collected $196,125.23. I've only collected $12.08 for 2018 interims. For the streetlight tax, $3,852.03. And taxes are due in discount. I have extra hours for this month, last 2 weeks of discount. So all my hours are on my tax bill.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'll make a motion to approve Suzanne's report. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. By the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention at the beginning, for those of you who haven't been here this year yet, the consent agenda, we list all those items, we approve them. They are all available online at the township website on the Friday before the meeting. So you've got 4 or 5 days, five days probably in there, where you can review them and make comments if you want to in the public comment thing, just so everyone's aware of that. Okay. Okay, let's move on. The engineer's report.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first item on our report is the Gavin Minor subdivision. We have representatives here tonight. Second.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Scott Camburn with Erwiler and Walter, here with Tom Gavin, the applicant. Applicant's proposing a 2-lot subdivision located at 1422 Ridge Road.
Well, pull up the plan while you're.
Okay. It's a 2-lot subdivision. It's a 39-acre parcel.
Don't stand up.
I'm sorry. Thanks.
Now you're in the
Now
right
I'm good. You got it?
No, you got your microphone right there. See?
There's a,
I was just waiting for the point.
there's a microphone right up there. If you
Okay.
stay right there, everybody can hear you.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
2-lot subdivision located at 1422 Ridge Road. This is the existing dwelling located on Lot 1 that will remain. Lot 2 is a 25-acre parcel with 1 proposed dwelling.
Scott, that larger piece there, that also corners down with Simmons and Goldline.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct, Simmons and Bardsley.
cuts off over the top corner.
Right.
It's, gold line's right here. There is, well, a little bit of frontage up on lot 1.
Yes.
Very little. Let me go to lot, page 4, it has the grading plan.
That one it?
That's good. Here's the proposed dwelling, driveway coming in off of Simmons, detached garage, septic area, stormwater management area. Remainder of the property, which is all wooded, will remain wooded. No additional disturbance. We're under 1 acre of disturbance. We are in receipt of Steve's review letter dated February 2nd, which we discussed at the February Planning Commission meeting. All items on the review letter will comply.
We done?
Nope. I'll just wait for questions.
Oh, okay. I have no
Any
questions.
questions
You, Jay?
regarding the
No, I'll give
review
you
letter, or?
No questions. Yeah.
We had waivers with regards to roadway widening, storm sewer, sidewalks, curbing along all 3 roads.
Road widening, curbing, sidewalks. Is that what you said?
Correct. And that was our waiver request letter dated January 15th. I have a copy of it if you would like.
I didn't say that.
I believe it was attached to Steve's review letter.
No,
Not? Okay.
it's all right. We know it's not all right. I have to do the resolution. So if you have, if you can email me a copy, that would be.
I will do that.
Okay,
I'm good? Yes?
okay. Are there any questions?
None to mine?
No.
I have one question. I have one question. Just as a status, I believe we discussed at the planning commission that the septic system for the farmhouse was a failed system and that had to be replaced before the health department would sign off on the planning module.
That is a correct statement, yes.
What's the status of that?
And
currently?
I will let Mr. Gavin in the back as to the replacement of the
Yes, it is
of the
something that we
tank.
do plan to replace, but we did get a permit through the health department for a temporary holding tank, because the weather's not cooperating,
Certainly.
so everything can move forward.
But
That's
that-
the septic system on lot 1, your
Yeah.
comment number 5.
Yes.
My comment number 5, right. The issue will be, there'll be a condition, one of the conditions on approval, should it be, the plan be approved, will be that the planning module process has to be completed and approved.
Yes.
And typically, the health department won't sign off on their portion of the planning module until that replacement has been done.
Correct. And I
Just so
believe-
you're aware
I
of that.
believe that they said they would accept the holding tank knowing the conditions.
As a temporary,
As a
until we
temporary
install the
measure.
septic
If they
system.
sign off and give us the paperwork, we'll process it, but it's usually the health department that's the holdup.
Get all that? So it's a temporary holding tank. Is the installation of the permanent system a condition of approval? In other words, will the plan be released and recorded prior to the installation of that system? I would recommend that be the condition, because we'll never see them. I mean, we don't have a mechanism to get them in front of us again.
That's typically how we would do it.
Okay, that's how I just wanted to make sure.
How long is the holding tank permitted? Is there a time?
There's not a time frame.
That could be forever?
No, it
No,
can't
no,
be forever. If the board authorizes, then I'll prepare a resolution which the board will consider at its next meeting. If this is a temporary holding tank because it's wet and muddy out there, sometime probably between now and the next meeting, you'll be able to get it in. If not, then it's just like a matter of going month to month until you can get your plans recorded.
That's correct, yes, exactly. And the holding tank is actually the tank that will remain there for the pump tank. So it's going to be a temporary permanent.
And he won't want to pay to have
And
it
all
emptied all the
the,
time.
and all the site testing is done.
All
You
done.
have a permitted system.
All done, it's been through the health department, signed off by the health department, through the environmental
System
consultant.
equipment.
I don't recall, is that a sand mound or is that a spray system on the, for the replacement?
It's not a spray
It's a
system.
micro mount.
A micro mount, okay, so it's the hybrid of a sand mound.
Is that like a marginal soils thing where they're gonna need now and everything?
Yeah. Again, I need to see how the health department fills out the paperwork, but most likely they'll mark it as marginal, and we'll need an O&M agreement.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Steve?
No, the rest of the items are fairly minor. I think we had discussions last month. The major issue is the waiver request items. Otherwise, it's fairly straightforward.
Then I would like to make a motion to authorize our solicitor to work up the resolution and our manager to work with the Gavin contract to work on all the in lieu of fees and all the other administrative tasks that go along with it, okay, and then bring it to us next month. Okay. Second?
I'll second, yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening.
Me too.
Okay, we had moved the signing of the plans up to the consent, so I don't think we need to
Yeah.
do that again.
No, so I don't have anything else.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Move for Steve's, approval of Steve's report.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Solicitor's report.
Yes, the only thing on the solicitor's report this evening is a proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance to address the sale of fireworks. At the end of last year, the state changed the fireworks law, not just to readjust the classifications of fireworks, but also to, address the fact that they can be sold in, temporary tents and things like that. And several of you went to the Cato conference in February and came back with some recommendations from the speaker at that conference regarding the need for an ordinance to be more specific about where fireworks can be sold. So without any other legislation right now, they can be sold wherever retail uses are permitted, which is the old 3-0 and PC and PC1 or PC1 and PC2. Right? Anyway, the old 309, what's that called?
Bethlehem Pike.
Ridge Road, almost out to Almont, and then like in the Landis Shopping Center. So I have no idea where you want to limit them, but just to get the conversation started, I drafted an ordinance a couple of months ago that provides for sales in the PC2 district, which is the old 309, and in the planned commercial district, the PC district, but only on properties which take direct access to County Line Road. I didn't think that the sale of fireworks by the police station in a tent just didn't seem right to me. And so I left out that area of the planned commercial district and did not make it available for the sale of fireworks.
Right, we have to have more than one area.
No,
How could we just put it in a plain commercial up for Western Pike?
that's up to
Limit to
you.
that.
Well, I'll give you my opinion. I'm not restricted to where they're sold. Then they still have to go by the guidelines of what the law says. But we don't restrict where someone can sell Easter flowers or Boy Scouts can sell Christmas trees. I don't know why we would restrict where fireworks can be sold. As long as they're used in the proper manner of what the law states, the current fireworks ordinance states. I don't know why we would regulate where they're sold. How many people go and plan industrial areas that travel through there, you know what I'm saying? Look at all these tents, you still would have to have a permit if you put something like this up, correct? I saw a lot of places pop up when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and they were selling all kinds of memorabilia.
That's the Lord's work.
Oh, well, in my view, if the fireworks are legal in Pennsylvania, I'm saying, I know you are, but I'm saying, if the fireworks are legal in Pennsylvania, I don't know why we would restrict where they're sold. That's just my view.
Well, my view is, I don't wanna see them sold next to Grandview Hospital, and I don't wanna see them sold next to West Rockhill Elementary School.
Well, there are regulations, just to contradict two things elected officials say, sorry.
Yeah.
For you, there is an isolation distance or a setback required from schools, daycare facilities, houses of worship, hospitals, and group homes. And
That's listed in there.
the state tells us, and that's, like for zoning, is about where and not about how. The state talks about how, zoning ordinances talk about where. So the state doesn't say where you can sell them, they leave that to the local government.
Okay.
It can't be within 150 feet of the gas line. Good to know.
That's sold?
Yeah.
Well, we're not here to make a decision tonight, we're just here to hear what options we have and try and get more input on it. So, I would like the Bucks County Planning Commission to give us some input, and our own planning commission.
So do you want to send this ordinance to the Bucks County and local planning commission for their thoughts? Or do you want it amended in any way before it goes there? For example, like, do you want it just on the old 309, or do you want to add areas to it?
I'd suggest we send it the way it is, let them
See what they
provide
come back
their
with,
review and input.
and then we can have a discussion on it. What do you think, Jay?
Well, as I said, I'm not in favor of restricting where they're sold, so I wouldn't be agreeing with that.
Okay.
But we still need planning commission review.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd just like to see the two planning commissions review it, and then come back, and then we can have more discussion on it.
Fair enough.
Is there a restriction on the amount of fireworks somebody can sell from a tent? In other words, can somebody come in there with 1,000 pounds of black powder?
I don't think that.
That's not the way it is.
No, I know it
That's
is,
not the
but-
way it's sold.
No, I realize that, but still, we're talking about fireworks and 150 feet away from a school.
Oh, no, 1,500.
1,500 feet,
It's a 1,500, but,
Yeah, be careful because that camera's rolling.
I
What you say, make sure you know what you're saying.
I'm just trying to find out where I can sell my fireworks.
There you go.
all right, so what this ordinance says is any structure containing quantities exceeding 50 pounds shan't be closer than 150 feet to any building, state highway, railroad, local street or alley, waterway, utility right or limit, and then nothing can be sold within 1,500 feet of the daycare center, the park, the school, house of worship, the dwelling, the hospital, or the group home. So, and not within 1,500 feet of any premises selling firearms. I don't know if there's anything, but, and then there's hours of operation that are limited. And these are things that were recommended in the model ordinance that the guy gave, out to everybody at the conference in the Bucks County Association of Township Officials. Probably the biggest, the act provides a difference between consumer and display fireworks. And that's what would, keep the big, powerful explosives from being sold in.
And the ordinance defines what type of fireworks can be sold.
Well, the ordinance says that consumer fireworks, in accordance with the state law, can be sold.
Well, I want to make sure we understood that's what the situation is.
Right,
Because they haven't read the ordinance.
right.
Okay. I mean,
So I'll send it to the local and the county planning.
I would like to get their input on it. I don't know how much I would want to restrict it either, to be honest with you. But I would like to get input from the two planning commissions. That's my opinion.
I think another factor is, how many places you have that are selling fireworks, and how's it working?
Yeah, right, yeah. Okay. All right,
make a motion that the solicitor provide copies of that for planning commission review.
Yeah, I would second that. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Get some input on that, thank you. Anything else, Mary?
I have nothing else unless you have questions for me.
No, can we get a motion to approve the solicitor reports?
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Managers report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have a copy of the treasurer's report and payment of bills for March 31st, 2018. I'll go over the general fund, has a balance of $417,159.91. Highway aid, $293,019.75. Open space, $981,486.90. The park fund, $16,028.26. The equipment fund, $2,484.69. Highway capital, $125.01. The street light, $29,976.07. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve is $323,032.43. Open space Vanderfield is $50,599. Sewage maintenance is $168,248.74. Stormwater fund is $5,593.80. And the escrow funds is $473,628.32.
Okay, I move for approval of the treasurer's report as presented, including the payment of bills that have been presented as well.
All right, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next item is the 2018 authorization to bid road paving. In your packet is a list of roads that we would like to pave and oil and chip. The paving is Cedar Hollow and Whalen Road. The oil and chip is Clymer Avenue, Quarry Road to 309, Meeting House Road, Clymer Avenue to New Paving, East Old State Road, Shoecraft Road, and Weichel Road. There's also an alternate bid to also include some of the developments, Meadowbrook, Mill Creek Manor, Array Circle, Wellington, and the third option of including Providence 1, Providence 2, and Milton.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
That development that was that's up there off of Rich Hill Road, that's possibly coming in. They've been before us. Would it be premature to do anything on Whalen Road there before we know whether that's done or that's going to happen or not? Because I see that road is going to take quite a bit of use if that actually goes through and happens. And I don't know if we wouldn't want to pursue that option with the parties involved.
Yeah, the developer should be responsible.
I'm just throwing it out there.
Possible, but the roads, we did the other half of that road and
I
down
realize.
through Green Top a couple of years ago.
And it does need it, I was on it
And the
over
part
the
that's
weekend.
left needs help.
Okay,
If you don't pave it, you're gonna have to do some patchwork to it.
well, I'm not opposed to paving, because, I'm all for it.
Right.
Making the roads
And
nicer.
the development at this point, we have no timetable for that, so that could be,
And it may not happen.
2-3 years. Even if everything went forward, it's probably 2-3 years out
Okay,
before construction really happens on that
Say
site.
the properties are for sale.
that answers the question there anyway. All right, move forward, sorry.
So that's the list of roads. All I'm looking for is authorization to go out to bid. And then we will get bid prices and come back to the board.
I'd make a motion for you to.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's just soliciting bids, right?
That's just soliciting bids. That's just to get bids and then come back to the board and then you
Discuss it.
authorize it based on the bid results.
Okay.
That's all I have for management report.
The approval,
I'll make a motion to approve the manager's report.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All business, line striping draft policy.
The board has a copy of the line striping policy that was presented last month. More or less, the policy states that certain roads, after they get paved or oiled and chipped, they will be line striped as part of the plan. For example, Shoecraft Road is on the list, and when it would get oiled and chipped this year, it would get line striped. other roads that have not been line striped won't get line striped until a new paving or a new oil and chip.
Okay.
You know,
Well, the one thing that we have to consider is, you know, where's that money gonna come from every time we have to do that? That's gonna be a
We don't know
concern.
what that cost is yet.
Well, I can give you an idea of the cost, just so you have,
Okay.
because we just saw some bids in from another township, and they were paving about a mile of road, and it was about $6,000 to do the line striping
On a mile.
per mile, for a double yellow line. And you have to remember, marking a new road is more expensive than repainting an existing road, because they have to lay it out and mark out the center lines. That works out to be about 4%, give or take, of the cost of paving the road. So not an exorbitant amount when you look at the overall cost. On an oil and chip road though, because oil and chip is so much cheaper, it might be closer to 10%, 8 to 10% of the cost of oil and chip the road would be the painting. But you get a lot more oil and chip done for your buck.
Yeah. Okay.
How many communities around have done that? To the extent it's listed here.
Most of our other municipalities paint the roads as they pave them. Except maybe like Aycock, they don't do a whole lot of painting.
So once again, how do we build the cost of this into the budget next year or this year?
you include it in, we can include it as part of the bid.
When you picked, oh, that's
Oh,
part of
that's a good one. May I interrupt?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm thinking about it now. May I ask you that question? Would it be possible to go back and see what, let's just say it cost $6,000. What less road improvement would we get if we took $6,000 towards a line striping of a road? Let's just say we're gonna oil and chip 1,000 acre road.
It's about 10%.
10%.
10%.
Yeah, on an oil and chip, you're probably 8 to 10% less distance you get. On the paving, it's only about 4%
Yeah,
nominal.
okay. So we have to calculate them numbers then, to see what,
And cut back, if it's on oil and chip, about 10%,
Yeah.
and paving about 4%.
And with anything else, the larger the quantities in our bid, the better the unit price will be. Like I said, that bid I was quoting was a single 1 lane or 1 mile of paving. If we would have more than that in our contract, you know, the price would come in a little bit better.
You could bid with and without striping.
We could bid the line striping as an alternate, but we'd get it, the price with all of them, but not require you to award the striping if you chose not to.
Do we have to go with a double yellow line?
Yes, that's only recognized, a single yellow line isn't a recognized paving mark.
Okay. I think what most people would just like to see is some delineation as to where the middle of the road is.
I understand, and some places, some municipalities will paint a single line, but Tim will tell you, it's not a recognized paving mark. Oh, and liquid fuels won't pay for it. If you're using your liquid fuels funds,
Oh.
they won't pay for anything other than a recognized
Right, that would have to come
standard
out of the
marking.
general funds. in other words.
I see.
So I'd suggest we table this until such time they get the bids and we can find out details of the cost.
We have to make a recommendation to get the bids. We have to make a motion to get the bids.
Yeah, but I'm saying the line striping.
Oh, well, we can get the bids first, yeah.
Yeah, and if you wanted us to bid it as an alternate, then you'll have the option either way. We'll know the numbers, but you won't have to award it if you choose not to.
That's what it should be, my view.
you making that in a proposal?
I'm frozen. yeah.
Okay, I'll second the proposal.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I would agree with that too. Okay.
The next item under old business is the Conservation Committee recommendation. The Conservation made a recommendation for third-party status on some of the properties that the township bought out. It is my suggestion to the board that you direct staff to go out and get some quotes and bring those quotes back. Go to the Natural Lands Trust, Heritage Conservancy, and probably Bucks County, and come back with some quotes to the board.
So,
Are you-
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I have one thing on old business, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. Greg, a couple of months ago, we authorized you to investigate the issues on Allentown Road of the two bridges. PennDOT study or something that we discussed briefly, right?
Correct.
I wanted to ask you where we are with that, if anywhere.
Steve and I have a meeting set up later this month to meet with PennDOT.
Okay, I want to make sure that this is in the minutes. On last Thursday, I was on Allentown Road, heading south from the Twin Churches at 5:20. And when I got to the bridge, the line on the other side of the bridge heading north was backed up all the way to Thousand Acre Road. And all of you that live out there know how far that is.
That's
I didn't
normal
count
occurrence.
because I was
Normal
driving.
at that time.
Excuse me?
That's normal occurrence.
Every day.
Well,
Every
it's
day.
it's a point I'm trying to make.
Right, we're with you.
Of the issue on Allentown Road of changing those bridges to two-lane passable bridges, which we cannot do until we get the supervisors to change the resolution that we currently have, stating that we can only have one-lane bridges there.
We talk about that now, or we talk about it later?
Actually, we talked about it in a
We
previous
talked- we
meeting.
did talk
and,
about it in previous
and one of the
meetings.
things I had suggested was we get the study
Yes.
from PennDOT first and see if there's anything we can do. They're not gonna change those bridges for 20 years.
No. No
So
way.
can we get some kind of traffic,
Can I make a suggestion on that?
I was thinking lights or something to allow, 30 minutes one way.
I can double the
Excuse me,
speed going over that
excuse me,
bridge.
could you identify yourself to Sherry, please, with your name and address?
Don White, Allentown Road,
What's the address, Don?
1056.
Thank you.
So the biggest problem with those bridges is that everybody goes over one car at a time. Now, it's caught on a little bit, but it really doesn't happen all the time. If you go 2 cars at a time,
I know.
it doubles the speed going over that bridge. It's twice as fast to get over that bridge, but you still get flipped off
Right.
by people who don't like it. Now, all I'm saying is, one simple sign that says 2 at a time would solve the majority of the problem on that bridge. You would have 2 cars going over at a time each way. We just have to get people to realize that, hey, we've got to do this now. It's not just a country bridge anymore, and the traffic backs up there every day. And the other bridge is the same way. It backs up the hill, up to the campground.
And I agree
Not
with you,
an
that's an option. I've had several people say that to me, and I agree. Because you have to wait 1 car at a time each way. I agree. 2 cars, even maybe 3 at the max, right? But you have to know what that is, and we really need PennDOT to come back and tell us what all of our options are. So Greg is meeting with PennDOT,
He can include that in there.
and he can include that with his discussion.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay, so the other issue with Allentown Road is somehow Allentown Road has gotten on the, and I think jail attests to this, has gotten on the truckers'
Right.
Yep.
GPS as a road they can
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Allentown Road is not safe for semi-trucks to use. They cannot stay on their side of the road. I've talked to Representative Stack's office about this, and what I was told was that the only way that can change is if it is in fact a danger, and I believe we all agree that it is a danger, those trucks on that road, that you guys have to approach the state about banning the trucks on that road. They can't stay on their side of the road. They're knocking the cap off the stone wall of the cemetery there. They're in the ditch, they're out of the ditch, they're pushing people off the road. It's dangerous and needs to be stopped.
Well, would you take that with you to your meeting at PennDOT? Okay, see what they have to say about it. Okay, thank you, Steve.
Sure.
That's all I wanted to bring up.
Great, I'm glad you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, new business.
I have
No
none.
new business, I have no new business. Okay, thank you. Public comment, Mr. Linden.
Robert Linden, 60 Reagan Drive. On your fireworks ordinance, have you consulted the fire department as to any recommendations as to locations for selling fireworks or not selling fireworks? Maybe they have a preference, like maybe you want to be near fire hydrants and not next to certain buildings or something like
We
that.
can do that, we have not done that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like I said, we're at a point where we really need to take this to the planning commission, and we can also talk to the fire departments at the same time. Okay, thank you. Tony, go.
Clymer Avenue.
Yeah.
Did painting on the chip roads, I mean, isn't that kind of a waste of money? I mean, painting stones and having them, half the time when they chip the road, you wind up with a ton of stone in your driveway the first time it rains. And I just, for $6,000, I mean, you're just throwing the money away. I don't see no point in it. And I would, a paved road, I get it, but not on a chip road. We're just wasting money.
First of all, they're not paved right, or they're not painted right away. They would be painted after they've been run over and then the excess
But-
stones would be picked up. But I understand what you're saying.
It's like a year, it takes like a year almost for that, to settle out and stuff like that. And the paving program, when's it gonna start? Like in August sometime? Is that what you're thinking?
We don't know what it costs right now.
I know, I wish you wouldn't consider it, not on a chip road, because it seems senseless and
Okay.
a lot of money, that's all.
Okay, and I should have mentioned, and I'm gonna go back because we have a lot of people here, and I think there's a lot of people who have something to say. You get 2.5 minutes per comment, so, and Tony, you were well within it, so thank you. Yes,
Linda Marks, 710 Thousand Acre Road. In direct response to your comments, sir, Thousand Acre Road has not had a line or any lines on it for probably about a year, paved and chipped road. Personally, a few months ago, we've had many foggy nights on Thousand Acre Road. A friend of mine called me hysterical. She said, I'm in a ditch on your road. I don't know where I am. All I can see is Christmas lights. She was maybe about 100 feet north of Jim Karcher's driveway. Luckily, she went off to the right rather than off to the left, or she would have been on her side. She was off, she was in the water was about a half an inch from coming in her door. It's good she had the cell phone service she had, because when we went out and found her, none of our cell phones, because we have terrible cell phone service, could get to 911. Her cell phone got to 911, that the police could come out. She ended up paying $95 to have her vehicle towed out of that ditch. Would have cost another $100 to tow it to our house. So there's a situation that could have been catastrophic. I don't care if the road crew goes down the middle of the road with a spray can and sprays one line down the middle of the road. We need some kind of reference point, because on foggy nights we have dangerous ditches on Thousand Acre Road, and something bad is going to happen. So I adamantly implore you to get a line. I went down Shoecraft, I see they don't have a line. I don't know how many other roads have that, but our stone's certainly settled. We need at least one line down the middle of our road, because I got the call that she was, I don't know, she couldn't get out in that cell phone. I don't know what might have happened. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Yes,
Harry Lowell, 521 Thousand Acre Road. I can agree with her. Whether the board knows it or not, it's a short, 1,000 Acre Road is a shortcut from Allentown to the Ridge Road. And rush hour in the morning, rush hour in the afternoon, it's like a turnpike up and down there. And before they oiled and chipped the road, we did have lines down the middle and 2 white lines on either side. I could not see the reason for the 2 white lines on either side. Down the middle, yes. And I think the board should consider doing something about it before something happens.
I can tell you that one of the things we're looking at are which roads can legally get lines down them because of their width, and which ones have had the most accidents. And I know that we've looked at both of those. I know that Thousand Acre Road, I live there, so I know how dangerous that is along the edge. Some of those ditches are 6 and 7 feet deep along there. I think you look at something like Gold Mine, it's the same way. You go up Gold Mine, they might not find you for 3 days. But, it gets really bad up on some of those roads. And I think those are the ones we need to look at along with these others. But we need to get the pricing and see what that's gonna come in at. Okay. And Tony, I understand your point too about the lines not staying there that long, but we need to look at some of these just from a safety perspective and see what we can do. Any other comments about that before we move on to another subject? Oh, yes.
Paul Raisner, 1402 Lawn Avenue. About 2 years we went through this.
Yeah, I know.
I cried, pleaded. I got one line put on my road,
Yeah.
and it's been a godsend. So I can know how you people feel. I feel much better that I got a line and can see where I'm going on the foggy nights. But the thing that disturbs me is some professional here mentioned about a one-liner is not up to par for the state? Is that, who put it that way? That
It's not a recognized pavement mark.
So I've got an unrecognized line on my road. So how would that deal if I got in an accident? I could turn the tables on somebody here, or what?
Well, that would be a mean thing to do. Because you serious, well, we have you on tape saying it's a godsend.
We just had a
so
guy
it'd be
run
kinda
into,
hard.
we just had a guy run into the pole on our road, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So, I just plead, I can see how those people feel. And one other comment while I'm up here, for our new basin, whatever you want to call it, lake or pond, are we gonna put up there no swimming signs? That sort of has me worried about, not liability-wise that for the township, if you don't put a sign up, because they swim in there during the summertime. I've seen them in there, and it just concerns me that without a sign, it opens us up to liability.
And I've heard there's people kayaking in there already, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next, any other comments for,
Here's one.
yes.
So they're gonna do the turnpike, gonna make it 3 lanes all the way up. Has the township been in on any of that? Do you know if we're getting any sound walls along any of the sections of the turnpike up through Quakertown?
I don't know anything about it, we haven't brought in anything.
And I was afraid of that. I don't think we're getting them, and it's a shame because it really does, I mean, I can hear the turnpike at my house all the way over on Allentown Road. And it would be nice to get the sound walls. I believe they probably think it's a rural area and it doesn't affect many people, where it really does affect a lot of people. There's a lot of people living in those woods. This time of year when there's no leaves on, of course, you can hear it more, but you're talking to PennDOT, is there any chance you could check that out when you're talking to PennDOT?
Put it on the list.
No, that's the Turnpike Commission.
Right, so they're not gonna know.
PennDOT won't know what the Turnpike Commission is doing.
You can ask them anyway.
We could do that.
Different hallway.
Yeah, I tried looking it up online too, because they have information about it and, what they're doing and all, but I don't see anything on it about walls, so I'm thinking we're not getting them.
All right, thank you. Is there any other public comment? Yes.
I feel like I have to talk really fast, like 2.5 minutes.
Go ahead.
Regarding the fireworks ordinance, and all of this is new to us.
Excuse me,
Sorry.
one thing, I want to make something clear. The ordinance is just for the selling of fireworks.
Correct.
Not shooting them off.
Correct, okay. Linda Marks, 710,000 Acre Road. Taking off from that, does the township have a noise ordinance or a time ordinance regarding fireworks? I directly reference Good Friday on our road. One of our neighbors setting off fireworks, I'm perfectly fine with. Nobody's picking on this person. I'm perfectly fine with people enjoying a half an hour's worth of fireworks. What I'm not perfectly fine with is 6 hours of heavy explosives going off from about 3 in the afternoon to about maybe 9, 10 or so at night. And also, are there consequences for a resident who has had the police called on them several times, that the police have had to come out, because when the police leave, then they start the activity again. So we're wasting police money having to continually come out. So that's 2 parts. What are our restrictions, and what are the consequences when you just ignore what the police are advising you not to do?
Well, I can handle the first one. I don't know what you want to do with the
I
second
want
one.
to correct one thing that Mrs.
Sure.
Marks said. It was actually 6 hours and 55 minutes of fireworks, because I caught it all on my security cameras.
Okay. But it was just,
And I can play it for you if you like.
I can enjoy some nice fireworks.
I agree,
can't
I
enjoy,
agree.
it sounded like the quarry blasting
Yeah.
for 6 hours.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
on a personal level, I just wonder how nice they can be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But,
Right.
Right.
if you go back to what I was talking about before, the state regulates how, we regulate where. So, if the state says that consumers can set off fireworks, we have noise ordinances, and then there's nuisance regulations that are nuisance concepts between property owner neighbors. Like neighbors can sue neighbors if they make it really difficult to live next to them. But our ordinance really just can't talk about how long you can, set fireworks off. And the noise ordinance, the noise regulations and the zoning ordinance are very hard to enforce because the nature of zoning enforcement, you have to give the person written notice before you can start the civil enforcement proceeding, and written notice takes a day or two, so that's, for the noise regulations and the zoning ordinance are more to address things like continuous noise. If you're next to the hospital and their HVAC system is cranking out at like 100 decibels, that's what your zoning ordinance is there to protect. So we don't have too much of a remedy if it goes on for 6 hours. Private property owners may have like a remedy against their neighbor if that happens, and then I'm not sure what to say about, the police. Where I know that Greg and I talked, and we're going to try and work with the police to let them know which kind of fireworks can be classified as consumer fireworks and which are display fireworks, so that, it's really clear that they understand the differences.
Yes.
Jim, Harry Long, 521 Thousand Acre Road. The night of that incident, I had the policeman, he did stop, young fella, and I asked him about the noise ordinance. He said he was 20 decibels over what the township's limit is. So was anything done about that? Why wasn't he cited right then and there?
And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Those decibel limits, this is so legal, the decibel limits are in the zoning ordinance. The state tells us how we enforce zoning regulations. The state says if you think somebody's violating the zoning ordinance, you have to send them a written notice that they're violating. If they don't bring it into compliance within 5 days, or appeal to the zoning hearing board within 30 days, then you can take the case, to court or to JP court. So it's not the kind of thing where the police can go out and write a citation like they can other summary offenses. The zoning officer has to issue violations of the zoning ordinance, not the police.
Well, the wife and I stood out there for 3 hours with our horse, trying to keep him calmed down. She tranquilized him twice. And I told the policeman this, and he said, well, I think you're over-exaggerating. I said, what do you know about a horse? And he did not say a single word back to me. I just think the township needs to pass an ordinance, no fireworks whatsoever in West Rockhill Township, period. That would eliminate a lot of the bullshit, as far as I'm concerned, and that's what it is.
Other comments? Yes.
I just want to maybe tell a little story of how I handled a noise problem at my home. I live next to the Homestead Campground, and for years I had a problem with them with noise because they had a PA system going and they played music that I didn't particularly appreciate, and it was quite loud. So one weekend I put my very large speakers out behind my house, and I turned jazz music on, and I left it on the entire weekend. That speaker system has never been on again. There's other ways to deal with this, and maybe people need to consider some other ways. No guns.
I would prefer that people take a more civil approach, but.
I think that's civil, the message got across, that's communication.
Yes.
Is there, well, and I understand that, but we don't want to like dicker with the
Right.
neighbors. Is there a time limit in the evening, like not past 10 o'clock, not past 11 o'clock, for loud noises like that?
The, again, those noise regulations are in the zoning ordinance, and yes, the like levels do decrease after, I think it's 10 o'clock at night, but you're subject to the same very difficult enforcement proceedings in the zoning ordinance. Whether it's, 3 o'clock in the afternoon or midnight, you still have to go through the notice of violation proceeding.
So they could do this all night and we wouldn't be able to do anything about it?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
As I said, if this is something that happens routinely, and this is something that happens in your neighborhood all the time,
Quiet, please.
then I would suggest that you can consult an attorney, because there are private property remedies that are available if it's a chronic problem, but as far as enforcing it under the zoning ordinance, that's a really tough thing to do, because you have to give notice and the opportunity to cure, and nobody's going to be setting off fireworks for 5 straight days.
Yes. Tony?
Tony Bogner, Clymer Avenue. Mary, am I correct that the noise ordinance is 15 seconds sustained noise? Is that correct?
I don't remember. There are noise regulations in the zoning ordinance, and I can check that, Tony, but I don't think,
Because I seem to recall that because when my neighbors across the street were running a 24-hour operation and a tailgate slamming all night long, it wasn't a sustained noise. But it was a nuisance, I'll tell you what. But if I'm not recalling, I want to say that it's sustained and there's no fireworks that I know of that can be sustained for that period of time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Frank?
Frank Shimon, 1030 Allentown Road. We can't put something on the books that says you can only have fireworks for 2 hours or 3 hours between the hours of.
I think you'd have to couch it a little differently. I think it would have to be in terms of a standalone noise ordinance as opposed to a noise ordinance in the zoning ordinance.
I'm just saying fireworks, period.
You know,
the pros don't go past 30 minutes.
Yeah, seriously.
That's very good. Good point. Okay, I understand, thank you. I can tell you that I live on 1,000 acres, so I got a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages. And I heard of one family who had to put a thunder jacket on their dog for 4 hours. Another family who had to take their dog to the vet. The dog had to be put down because of trauma. Harry, with his horse, he had tranquilized it twice. I heard from a family whose daughter was going to work at midnight and couldn't sleep, didn't get any sleep from after 3 o'clock. I heard from another family on Allentown Road whose husband couldn't sleep and he had to go to work at midnight. So it's these kind of things that I think we need to figure out a way to control some of this stuff. And I guess it's up to us to work with Mary and see what we can do. Yes, Tim?
If I may,
Yes, please.
as a representative of the PD, we still want everybody to call us, okay? Because with this new firearms law, if you will, there are still certain things that they can't do, all right? It has to, all fireworks have to be 150 feet from any occupied structure, which is any building where someone could reside. It could be a barn, it could be anything, so they can't just light them off right next to their house. So they have to be 18 years old. There can be no alcohol. So please call us. It gives us a reason to get there and check. If we get there and any of these violations are happening, we will confiscate all the fireworks. If they're not happening, unfortunately, as Mrs. Eberly has said and the board has said, unfortunately, in that particular situation, our hands are a little bit tied right now, okay? But please still call us. If it's an ongoing thing and it's something that's continuing, please don't think that there's nothing that we can't do. We still want to come out. We want to check to make sure that whoever's lighting off the fireworks is following the appropriate new regulations, okay?
And to help you guys, we did a little memo that if your officers want to use it, the difference between, really digging down into the difference between consumer and display, if it helps.
I actually put an email out to all the officers. I've been researching this thing for a week, literally breaking down each definition, looking at how many grains of,
Good, that's
gunpowder.
exactly, we did
And
the
so
same thing.
it's back on our bulletin board. Each officer was actually provided it. Actually, the officer that came out and handled it that night, other than, unfortunately, the comments, I guess, that he made to you, but it was actually handled, pretty well. He came back out with our sound meter. We have a sound meter, so he was able to get some decibel readings to at least see where these fireworks are at. So we're learning as this new law is now in effect. But please don't hesitate to call us, because we do want to come out, and we have an obligation to make sure that everybody that is doing the fireworks, or at least following the appropriate, laws and steps.
Yes.
Patrice Swartuck, 715 Ridge Valley Road. I haven't heard anyone say anything about considering the general landscape of the township and being very well wooded. There's generally leaf cover on the ground in the wooded areas, and if any of those sparks were to land in one of those wooded areas and it's a dry spell, which we do go through sometimes, even in the summer, you'd be surprised how fast a leaf fire can spread. I've just seen it. So I don't know how or where that would be considered, what part of the law, or that it should be considered.
Well,
that
we need to work with our fire departments too and see what ideas they have.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Yeah. Was there another comment on this side? Yes, Harry.
I only had one thing that I wanted to bring up, and since Sergeant's here, my wife called approximately around 7:20 something on Friday evening. We never seen the police car come down the road till approximately 20 after 9. And I called, she called, we'd talked to you, you said that there were numerous calls. I even called the state police, and they said, well, the only way they could come out is if the local police called for assistance. So, why did it take so long for a policeman to get out there on Good Friday? That would be one of my questions.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Is there any other public comment? All right, thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much for coming out tonight.